Imagine a world before airplanes or even trains, where the fastest way to travel was by camel or horse.
Wow.
Now picture vibrant cities popping up along these routes, not just for trade, but as centers of knowledge, faith, and even espionage.
Espionage, fascinating.
That's the world of the Silk Roads.
Yeah.
And today, we're diving deep into Peter Frankopan's book to uncover the surprising connection between ancient Persia and modern geopolitics.
Interesting.
We've got excerpts from his book, The Silk Roads, covering a vast span of time and geography.
Yeah.
Our mission is to understand why this history is crucial to understanding the world today.
I think one of the most fascinating things that Frankopan does in this book is he challenges this whole perception that we have that globalization is this new phenomenon.
Oh, interesting.
The Silk Roads were this complex system of trade and exchange that thrived centuries ago, showing us that interconnectedness isn't a new concept.
So it's like discovering your ancestors were international traders.
Exactly.
Adding all these layers of intrigue to your family history.
Absolutely.
And speaking of intrigue, Frankopan reveals that these routes weren't just about luxury goods.
Right.
They were a network exchanging ideas, religions, technologies.
And this is something that's really important to remember.
Yeah.
This exchange wasn't always positive.
Right.
Diseases and conflict also traveled these routes.
Of course.
Highlighting the duality of interconnectedness.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that progress and its consequences are often intertwined.
So let's journey back to the ancient beginnings of the Silk Roads.
Okay, yeah.
Frankopan takes us to the heart of Asia, where the first towns and cities sprung up along mighty rivers, like the Tigris, Euphrates, and Indus. These were bustling hubs even back then.
Yeah.
Think Babylon, Nineveh, Uruk, names that echo with historical weight.
Wow, that's incredible.
The Persians, for instance, controlled a vast territory. Stretching from the Mediterranean to the Himalayas, they were renowned for their love of luxury, their willingness to adopt new ideas, and really impressive administrative skills.
Right.
They weren't simply conquerors. They were builders and innovators, shaping the landscape and culture of their time.
That's an important point.
Then enters Alexander the Great, a figure who embodies ambition and conquest.
Of course.
He conquers the Persians and marches into the heart of Asia.
Yeah.
Frankopan describes him as a brilliant general who understood that treating local populations well was key to creating a stable empire.
A very pragmatic approach.
Alexander's conquests had a ripple effect, deepening connections between East and West.
Absolutely.
Facilitating the exchange of goods, people, and ideas about religion, literature, and education. Picture those travelers setting out on journeys that could take months or even years.
Yeah.
It certainly puts our modern air travel into perspective.
Absolutely.
Frankopan highlights the Sogdians.
Okay.
These savvy middlemen who traveled in caravans across vast distances, trading everything from spices and precious metals to textiles. The most famous, of course, being silk.
Right, of course.
They weren't just traders. They acted as cultural ambassadors, spreading ideas, languages, and artistic styles along the way.
They were the original influencers, shaping tastes and trends across the ancient world.
Yeah.
Their impact on the cultural landscape of the Silk Roads is undeniable.
Now let's shift our focus to China.
Okay.
Frankopan delves into the Han Dynasty's westward expansion and their efforts to gather information about the lands beyond their borders.
Interesting.
They even had a passport-like system to track travelers and goods.
Really?
Over 2,000 years ago.
Wow.
Showcasing their sophisticated bureaucracy and their desire to control the flow of people and commodities within their empire.
It's incredible to think about how they interacted with the nomadic tribes of Central Asia, like the Xiongnu, who are known for their horsemanship and intimidating reputation.
Those horses bred by the Xiongnu were legendary.
Really?
They were so fast they were believed to be descended from dragons.
Wow.
Some even became famous, immortalized in poems and sculptures.
That's amazing.
It underscores the importance of horses in ancient warfare and trade.
Horses were the engines of their time,
Right.
Connecting distant lands and shaping the destinies of empires.
And their impact extended beyond mere transportation.
Exactly.
They were symbols of power, status, and even mythology.
Yeah.
These connections went beyond just material goods. The Silk Roads weren't just about the exchange of stuff,
right,
but something far more powerful.
Yeah.
Faith.
This is where the story takes on a new dimension.
Yeah.
Religion was deeply intertwined with politics and power.
Okay.
Controlling the right faith often meant controlling people and resources.
Yeah.
It's almost like ancient empires saw religion as this divine stamp of legitimacy, solidifying their rule.
Yeah, I see, yeah. So we left off with the idea that the Silk Roads were like more than these avenues for trade. They were pathways for faith.
Yeah.
How did the spread of religion along these routes kind of intertwine with these like power dynamics?
Well, religion wasn't just, this spiritual matter.
Right.
It was deeply intertwined with politics and power.
Right.
Control over the right faith often equated to control over people and resources.
Okay.
Think of it as a form of divine legitimacy for ancient empires.
So how did this play out along these Silk Roads?
Well, consider Alexander the Great.
Okay.
As he expanded his empire, he brought his Greek gods with him, establishing temples throughout this vast territory.
Okay.
This directly challenged the spread of Buddhism, which had been gaining ground in northern India.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like a clash of ideologies, a spiritual arms race.
So how did Buddhism adapt to this new competition?
Buddhism had to evolve.
Okay.
In its traditional form, it was abstract,
Right.
focusing on meditation and inner peace. But to compete with these very visual and relatable Greek gods,
Right.
it began incorporating statues and images, creating grand monasteries and awe-inspiring works of art.
I see.
Think of the colossal Buddha statues carved into the cliffs at Bamiyan.
Those were tragically destroyed in 2001.
Yeah, a stark reminder of the fragility of cultural heritage.
Absolutely. Frankopan also highlights how Christianity, a faith we often associate with Europe,
Right.
was making significant inroads into Asia during this period.
Think about this. Christian communities in cities like Mosul and Basra were so large, they required bishops to oversee their priests.
Oh.
This rapid spread posed a direct threat to the Sasanian Empire, whose dominant faith was Zoroastrianism.
For those maybe needing a refresher,
Sure.
what exactly is Zoroastrianism?
It's based on the teachings of a prophet from around 1000 BC,
Okay.
and it centers on this cosmic battle between good and evil, light and darkness.
I see.
The Sasanian rulers, feeling threatened by the rise of Christianity, they responded with persecution. Frankopan tells the story of King Tiridates of Armenia, who was supposedly turned into a pig and only cured by St. Gregory, leading to his conversion to Christianity.
Wow, that's a powerful story.
Yeah.
Highlighting the sway of religious narratives in these power struggles. It seems conversions weren't always welcome, though.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Frankopan reveals how some rabbis, for example, were less than thrilled about converts to Judaism.
Really?
It's a reminder that religious tolerance wasn't always the norm.
Right.
Even within faiths.
But
He doesn't shy away from the darker aspects of this interconnectedness.
yeah.
Conflict often arose during times of hardship, whether due to climate change, economic instability, or military threats. Minorities, as always, often bore the brunt of these hardships.
So we have clashing empires,
Yeah.
competing religions,
All right.
and then Emperor Constantine enters the scene.
Okay.
He decides to build a new capital for the Roman Empire, Constantinople, designed to rival Rome itself.
Wow.
Constantine's decision to move the capital eastward
Yeah,
really recognized the increasing importance of the Silk Roads
absolutely.
and the challenges emerging from that region.
Yeah.
But as Frankopan reveals, the first real challenge to Constantinople came from an unexpected source.
Okay.
Were those fierce nomadic tribes, the Huns, involved?
Precisely.
Okay.
This time, they were led by Attila,
Okay.
who rampaged across Europe, extracting tributes and causing chaos.
Wow.
While the Western Roman Empire crumbled under these pressures,
Right.
the eastern half, centered in Constantinople, not only survived, but thrived.
So even amid chaos, trade and cultural exchange continued.
Yeah.
The Silk Roads were this enduring force, connecting people, even as empires rose and fell around them.
That's a crucial insight,
Yeah.
one that becomes even more relevant as we move into the next chapter of Frankopan's story. A new force was about to emerge on the scene, a force that would reshape the world and redefine the very meaning of the Silk Roads.
Okay.
Islam.
This new force, Islam, completely changed the landscape of the Silk Roads.
It did.
Let's delve into how this transformation took place.
All right, so before the arrival of Islam,
Yeah.
the world was this tapestry of diverse religions and beliefs.
Right.
Judaism and Christianity had gained footholds, but a new message was about to emerge from the Arabian Peninsula.
Okay.
This is where the story of Muhammad begins.
Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, played a pivotal role in shaping the future of the Silk Roads.
He did.
Tell us more about his journey and teachings.
So Muhammad, a trader, retreated to a cave near Mecca seeking contemplation.
Mm-hmm.
It's in this cave, according to Islamic tradition, that he received revelations from God, forming the basis of the Quran.
Okay.
Importantly, this new faith wasn't just about spiritual enlightenment.
Right.
It carried profound political and social dimensions.
So Frankopan emphasizes how Muhammad's teachings united these diverse populations under the banner of Islam.
Right.
Creating a blueprint for a new society.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a faith, it was a call for a community bound by shared beliefs and purpose.
That unity was a key factor in Islam's rapid spread.
Right.
Within a century, Muslim armies conquered vast territories, stretching from Spain to the Himalayas.
That's incredible.
This wasn't simply conquest for conquest's sake.
Right.
But the creation of a new world order centered on the principles of Islam.
Okay.
And connected by the revitalized Silk Roads.
It's fascinating how this new force rapidly reshaped the existing power structures.
It is.
Was this new order entirely intolerant of other faiths?
Interestingly, early Islamic leaders were surprisingly tolerant of other faiths, particularly Christians and Jews, who were considered people of the book. They were allowed to practice their religions and even in some cases received financial support for their places of worship.
That's an important point. It challenges this common perception of Islam as inherently intolerant.
Absolutely.
This tolerance must have contributed to the flourishing of cultural exchange during this period.
Absolutely. Early Islam was remarkably cosmopolitan, embracing diversity and fostering intellectual exchange.
Right.
Frankopan paints this vivid picture of cities like Baghdad, Damascus, and Mosul as bustling centers of trade and scholarship where people from all over the world congregated to share ideas, goods, and knowledge.
It sounds almost utopian, this vibrant mix of cultures and knowledge.
It was a golden age for the Silk Roads.
Wow.
Fueled by Islamic expansion and a spirit of openness.
Were there any darker aspects to this interconnectedness, though?
Well, there always are, aren't there?
Right.
Frankopan mentions the unexpected arrival of the Vikings.
The Vikings, often associated with raids on Europe, were actually key players in the slave trade.
They were.
That's surprising.
They traveled east into the heart of Asia, capturing and selling people for enormous profits.
It's a dark chapter in the story of the Silk Roads.
It is. The demand for slaves in the Muslim world was vast.
Right.
And the Vikings, known for their seafaring skills and ruthlessness, were all too willing to supply that demand.
Wow.
Guidebooks even existed, offering advice to wealthy buyers on how to select slaves.
Really?
With tips on everything from skin smoothness to avoiding hidden defects like bad breath.
Wow. It's difficult to comprehend the scale of human suffering involved in this trade.
It is.
Did these interactions, as horrific as they were, lead to any form of cultural exchange?
Despite the brutality, these interactions did lead to further cultural exchange. The Viking traders brought back spices, textiles, even Arabic coins, further intertwining the economies and cultures of East and West.
So it reinforces the idea that globalization, even in its earliest forms, has always been this complex and often contradictory force, capable of producing both incredible beauty and unspeakable cruelty. Frankopan shows us how these contradictions continued to play out in the centuries that followed.
Absolutely.
The story of the Silk Roads is a tapestry woven with threads of both progress and exploitation.
Yes.
It seems that this interconnectedness always carries a dual nature.
That's an insightful observation.
Where does the narrative take us next?
Well, from here, Frankopan takes us through the Mongol conquests, the devastating impact of the Black Death, the rise of the West, and the eventual shift in power to Europe. We see how the Silk Roads become a battleground for influence between empires, a stage for both collaboration and conflict. This sets the stage for the modern era, where the Silk Roads are once again taking center stage.
It sounds like history is coming full circle.
It is.
How do the Silk Roads play into the modern world?
Well, Frankopan explores China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative,
Right.
this massive infrastructure project aimed at connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa through a network of roads, railways, and shipping routes.
It seems like China is looking to the past for inspiration,
Yeah.
drawing on the legacy of the Silk Roads to create this new era of global interconnectedness.
Exactly. China's Belt and Road Initiative is a testament to the enduring significance of the Silk Roads. This initiative, while promising economic benefits,
Right.
also raises concerns about China's growing influence and potential for exploitation. Frankopan reminds us that history offers both lessons and warnings.
That's a crucial point. The Silk Roads have always been a source of both opportunity and conflict. As we move forward in this increasingly interconnected world, understanding the lessons of the past is paramount.
Indeed, as we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, recognizing the potential pitfalls as well as the possibilities is essential.
Right.
We must learn from the triumphs and tragedies of the Silk Roads to shape a future where interconnectedness leads to greater cooperation and shared prosperity.
It sounds like the Silk Roads offer a blueprint for a more interconnected, but also a more equitable and sustainable future.
They do.
Frankopan's exploration of the Silk Roads provides this fascinating lens through which to view history
It does.
and the forces shaping our world today.
Right.
His insights are invaluable for anyone seeking to understand the complexities of globalization
Yeah.
and the interconnectedness of our world. So we've journeyed through centuries,
Yeah.
witnessing the rise and fall of empires,
Yeah.
the ebb and flow of religions,
Absolutely.
and the enduring legacy of the Silk Roads.
Right.
As we stand at the cusp of a new era of interconnectedness,
Yeah.
shaped by globalization and technology. What key insights can we glean from Frankopan's exploration of this ancient network?
Frankopan's work underscores a crucial point.
Okay.
The Silk Roads weren't merely these static routes on a map.
Right.
They were dynamic arteries,
Okay.
constantly evolving and adapting to the currents of history.
Right.
Understanding this dynamism is crucial. Yeah.
To understanding our present and shaping our future.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
It suggests that we can't view the Silk Roads as a relic of the past,
Right.
but rather as a living system with echoes resonating in our modern world. How does this perspective help us navigate the challenges and opportunities of globalization today?
Well, the Silk Roads offer a profound lesson,
Okay.
interconnectedness, while offering immense potential for progress and prosperity.
Right.
Also carries inherent risks.
Yeah.
We've seen throughout history how the flow of goods, people, and ideas
Yeah.
can bring not only wealth and innovation,
Right.
but also conflict, disease, and exploitation.
It seems that the story of the Silk Roads is this cautionary tale, reminding us that globalization is a double-edged sword.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Frankopan challenges us to approach globalization with a nuanced perspective,
Right.
recognizing both its potential and its perils.
Okay.
We need to learn from the mistakes of the past.
From the empires that crumbled due to overreach or exploitation.
Yeah.
And from the societies that thrived by embracing diversity and cooperation.
So how do we apply these lessons from the Silk Roads to our current reality?
Right.
The world is grappling with issues like climate change, economic inequality, and political instability.
Yeah.
Can this ancient network offer any guidance?
Well, the Silk Roads remind us that isolationism is not a viable solution to global challenges.
Okay.
We are all interconnected, and our fates are intertwined.
Right.
Addressing these complex issues requires collaboration, dialogue, and a willingness to learn from each other.
Yeah.
We need to build bridges, not walls.
Yeah.
Fostering a spirit of shared responsibility and a commitment to sustainable development.
It sounds like the Silk Roads offer a blueprint for a more interconnected, but also more equitable and sustainable future.
Indeed.
Frankopan concludes his book with a thought-provoking question,
He does.
one that echoes through the centuries. Will this new era of interconnectedness lead to greater cooperation and prosperity?
Right.
Or will we repeat the mistakes of the past?
It's a question we all have to ask ourselves.
It's a question worth pondering as we chart our course in the 21st century.
Absolutely. The answer lies not in some predetermined fate,
Right.
but in the choices we make, both individually and collectively. Will we embrace the lessons of the Silk Roads?
Right.
Or will we stumble blindly into the pitfalls of history?
Yeah.
The choice is ours.
Frankopan's The Silk Roads is a must-read for anyone seeking to understand the historical forces that have shaped our world.
It is.
And the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Right.
You can find a link to purchase the book in the episode description.
We encourage you to delve into this captivating history and explore Frankopan's insightful analysis. It's a journey well worth taking.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into captivating topics. And share this episode with a friend who loves history or anyone curious about the forces shaping our world.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring.